Good morning. I'd like to thank everybody that's here today. Just to let you know, this is a continued project. Friends of Woburn Veterans did this reconstruction of the monument, which was placed here the 4th of July in 1913. This tower was placed on Woburn Common, and it has remained here ever since that time. It was our pleasure, along with a number of other veterans organizations in the city, to raise the funds and be able to do this reconstruction and then turn it back over to the city. I'd like to thank Mayor Galvin and the City Council for their strong support of this effort. Without them, we couldn't have accomplished this. Especially want to thank our good friend and committee member Bob Shure of Skylight Studios, who's responsible for the design and the construction. Jimmy DeLong in the Parks Department, Mark Quinn, Jay Duran, and Sergeant Scally, retired Woburn Police Department, and especially all the members of the Friends of Woburn Veterans that are here today. I would like to introduce Kathy Lucero from the Friends of Woburn Veterans Group, and our resident historian, to tell us about what is here today. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I apologize. I lost my voice yesterday because Bob McGuire and I had the pleasure of taking out 400 third graders all week. And so 400 third graders have already learned about the USS Maine and the Cowl, along with their teachers and principals and parents. So we were very pleased to show them this first. I'd like to give you a little bit of history on the Cowl. This is the ventilator cowl from the battleship, the USS Maine, which was commissioned in 1895. The USS Maine in 1898, January of 1898, they were out of Key West, Florida, and they were headed to Havana, Cuba. And the reason being is they were there to protect the U.S. interests, because Cuba was fighting for their freedom from the country of Spain. And what happened on February 15th, the ship was in the harbor. Because of all of the commotion on the island, the Captain Sigsbee did not allow his sailors to go aboard. And therefore, they were there at 10 o'clock at night, mostly in bed sleeping, when the explosion occurred under the Battleship Maine. There were 355 crew members on the ship, including the captain, and of that, 294 were injured or lost their lives. 264 were sunk that day. What happened and what caused it, people think it was the direct cause of the Spanish-American War, but it was not. It was really only a catalyst for it. Because at that time, they had what they called yellow journalism. And what that was, there were publicists and journalists from William Randolph Hearst and Joseph Pulitzer who wanted the United States to go into war with Spain. They had that anti-propaganda, anti-Spain propaganda. They called it yellow journalism at that time. And what happened was President McKinley, after a few months, decided, along with Congress, to declare war. And war was declared April 25th, 1898. Very short war, 3 months. And at that time, Woburn had 185 men go and fight with Teddy Roosevelt, and some sailors were also involved in the Spanish-American War. We lost one soldier, Charles Malloy. And Charles Malloy would later go on, the encampment in Reading would be later named after him. What happened after that, in 1912. In 1912, the United States government decided to salvage the ship in the harbor. It was under the Cuban jurisdiction. They finally got permission and they brought it up. And before they allowed it to be sunk with a honorable military honorable ceremony, they salvaged the ship. And what they decided to take was all of the artifacts and relics. They found 66 bodies when they brought the ship up. Those 66 bodies were interred at Arlington National Cemetery, which made a total of 229 that were interred at Arlington National Cemetery. And then what happened from that, it was offered to the American people and to patriotic groups, would you like to have a relic from the USS Maine? Because the battle cry had started when before the war, remember the Maine. And to the hell with Spain was the rallying cry that got us into the war. What people don't realize is that this ship, the relics that are on it, were only offered, as I said, to patriotic groups. And what happened was in Woburn, there was a group under Arthur Witchell, who owned the Witchell drugstore right over here by the Busy Bend, and along with other Woburn men, businessmen decided to fill an application in with Congress, and they did that in 1912. And they were rejected because they weren't a patriotic group. So what they did was they talked to the GAR, which is the Grand Army of the Republic, and the post was right over where this bank is right now. That was their headquarters. They were post 161. Well, because they were a patriotic group from the Civil War, they were allowed to fill the application and to get a piece of the cowl. There were 3 cowls, 3 ventilator cowls. One is in Los Angeles, one is in Rock Island, Illinois, and we were blessed enough to have this relic based on these patriotic actions of Woburn men, and especially our GAR. Originally it was going to be at Woodbrook Cemetery, but they decided that that wasn't enough for the public to see. So they had a fundraiser, and in 1913, on the 4th of July, there were thousands of people here to honor and celebrate July 4th. And what happened at that time was this dedication happened for the first time on July 4th, 1913. And the Mayor William Henchy accepted the cowl on behalf of the Woburn people. And there was a survivor of the U.S. Maine from Malden. His name was Frank Thompson, and Frank unveiled it, and here it stands since 1913. So we're very blessed to have the relic, and I'm hoping that many more people will see it. These are some of the pictures that we found that I had actually, and then we will. This picture and that medal was left by a stranger at one point at some time, and it was left inside, and Jerry Scally has been kind enough to frame it up. So with that, this is the beautiful USS Maine ventilator cowl. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to come out today and see the unveiling of our newly reconstructed cowl.